Good evening, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good, what's today? Thursday evening. So I want to go ahead and have my discussion about the prompt that we were given for the employee working from home. So I've got a couple of different things that I want to talk about. First, after learning about the different human resource models, and then of course we've had several classes on leadership theories, so I'm thinking about those theories and then learning about these new models. But I wanted first to offer an analysis of the meeting that happened with the employee. Of course, first we know going into this that working virtually is a new concept for most of us. I think that there were companies, organizations, businesses that had employees working virtually before COVID happened. As this video, it appeared to be, made back in the 90s, maybe. So there are companies that have had that established for a while. For many of us, however, when COVID hit, that was a whole new world for us to learn how to do our jobs from home while we're trying to manage home at the same time. When you're at home, of course, you're thinking about all the things you need to be doing for your family, and so there is definitely an extra layer of complexity, I think, in working from home, that you have to really establish a separate space. You have to be really organized. You have to be very devoted to the time that you're going to spend doing your work. And I've learned that from this class, and especially this summer, where we really have the freedom to work when we want to on most of these assignments. And I struggle with that a little bit. I like the flexibility, but at the same time, I'm having to adapt to being at home and working from home and having a separate space and making sure that I devote time to focus on that. First, I wanted to analyze what I noticed in the video between the leader and his employee. After watching the video all the way through, I did appreciate his end goal, that he wanted to keep her employed. He wanted to do whatever was necessary to keep her on his team. Because he said in the video, you are one of the most valuable employees of this company. The problem is I don't think she felt that way. So I think that's something that he really needed to dig into a little bit more. I felt like he was doing a lot of talking instead of a lot of listening. I would have liked to have seen him employ more active listening techniques. Really just sit back and listen actively. I felt like he was, sometimes when you talk to people and you could tell that they're not really listening to you, they're waiting on you to stop talking so they can interject with their thoughts, and they're swirling their thoughts in their mind about how they're going to respond to all the things you're saying. When people do that, they're not really listening. And so I felt like that was the area that he really needed to work on. That was just my interpretation of how that went. I think some questions that I would have wanted to ask her if I were in that leadership role would have been, how can I support you? And have her really give me a list of things that I can give myself an action plan. How can I support you? I would have asked her, why are you feeling unimportant? so that then later I can go back and think on that question about what I can do to make her feel more important. I would have asked, how have I contributed to those feelings? And I think he did allude to that a little bit, but I would have wanted to dig into that a little bit more. I think anytime there is a conflict or a difficult situation, a worker, an employee is not doing the things that they need to be doing, something is missing. And I would want to be reflective in that opportunity and analyze myself, what can I do to make this situation better, and then I would hope that my employee would do the same. So some other notes that I made, he did say that she was one of the most valuable employees. She's not feeling valued, and when we're looking at the different models and theories, that's something that I think he really needs to investigate a little bit more. I did not think that he sought her input deeply enough into what the real problem was. But I did like that he had a plan. But it was his plan. She didn't really have any input into that plan. I kind of got the impression that maybe that's how he usually rolls with things. If things are not going well, 2 weeks, we're going to do this, and then if that doesn't work, we're going to move on to the next thing. So I think that that's probably something that he uses as a tool when working with employees. I do think it was a good plan overall, that she wanted to continue to work at home. So I think he really needed to see how he could support her in staying at home. I think that maybe he could have helped her feel more important by maybe giving her some more responsibility. Maybe she wanted some more. I see that you're really skilled in doing XYZ, so I want to mobilize you to do XYZ. And that's kind of where the Good to Great book comes in, when we had the analogy of the bus scenario. You want to mobilize people and put them, get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off the bus, make sure everybody's in the right seat. So maybe a little more needed to be done on his part to really see if she felt like she was still adding value to the work that she was doing in the position she was in. Maybe if not, there was another opportunity for her. A couple of things that I was thinking about. I did read through all of the different models. I like the Harvard model. It was a lot to process, but the one that stood out to me the most with this specific scenario was Guest's model. And I printed a couple of the slides, and I just wanted to point out a couple of things here. That Guest emphasizes a commitment based on human resource management. That there need to be relationships between human resource management and the strategic management of an organization. And that relationship idea goes back to looking in our leadership book, North House, when we learned that we were moving away from closed systems to open systems theories. And I now talk a little bit more about the theoretical lens that I was kind of using to analyze this scenario. But moving into more of that idea that we don't need to think about workers as that it's all a mechanical situation. People have feelings, and they have lives, and they bring home to work, and they bring work to home, and that it all flows together. And in this situation with this employee, maybe there were some things going on at home that were impacting her work. And so that goes back to that whole consideration of environment. When we're talking about the open system theory from our leadership book, that open system theory made the revolutionary claim that environment significantly influence organizational structure and behavior. But going back to the guest model, I really liked how they gave us what the emphasis needed to be. Greater employee commitment to organizational goals. We need to harness individual needs rather than a collective workforce. So this woman in particular had some individual needs that weren't being met. Better flexibility within the organization and devolution of authority. So I interpret that as flexibility. You're able to work from home. So you're going to have that level of trust that employee is going to do what they need to be doing. Respect and values individuals as assets, which help the organization reach their goal. So I liked that terminology, that it's considering people as being an asset and not just a means to an end. And then Guest's model also gave a couple of ideas for strategy, such as differentiation, innovation, quality, and cost reduction, that all of those things will encourage positive HRM practices, such as selection and training, rewards, and appraisals. And maybe this particular employee was not being rewarded. Maybe she was not getting any positive feedback. Maybe her love language is affirmations and words of affirmation. Maybe she needed, like he offered in the end, those daily check-ins and needed some more positive feedback from him. It says this will lead to improved HRM outcomes, commitment, quality, and flexibility. This will have a direct effect on behavior outcomes, resulting in improved motivation, which she needed, cooperation, which she needed, involvement, which she needed. Maybe she wants to be more involved. Maybe she's feeling like she's at home now and she's just been forgotten about, and really needs to be pulled back in and feels involved in the company again. And then at the end of the slides there, it talked about the performance outcome will then increase employee performance, which is what he wants, increase productivity, which is what he wants, and quality and innovation. I didn't really see him asking her for any ideas, maybe after they get through this little rough patch, he could start, asking her to share some ideas. And so I see that my video is going on 13 minutes and most people's have been only like 7 or so. So I talk a lot and I apologize for that. The theoretical lens that I was using to analyze this scenario, of course, I was considering the open systems theory from my leadership book. And I flagged a couple of things in the book, but in particular, I love this one statement here that says the environment, let me go back. It means that creativity is a product of individual thought, and the best environment for creativity is one in which the individual is protected and supported. So I think he needs to figure out how he can make her feel protected and supported. And I made some notes about structural contingency theory. the two variations of that theory, examining relationships between environmental variables and organizational structure. So I think the environmental variable here was she's working from home, so she's not feeling directly connected to the work that's happening. And when you're at home, you can't really escape home things and life that's happening around you. So I definitely think that some consideration needed to be made there for her environment and how that might be impacting her. And real quick, one more in the leadership book. I really liked thinking about leader-member exchange theory here, because it talks about the dyadic, if I'm saying that right, relationship between a follower and a leader, and that when that is in a vertical dyad, that is optimal, and it's going to provide optimal results. That there is an open relationship between the leader and the follower. They have open communication, clear communication. Let me look real quick and see what else. Studies focus on how the quality of leader-member exchanges was related to positive outcomes for leaders, followers, groups, and the organization in general. With other studies, researchers found that high-quality leader-member exchange produced less employee turnover. So the lady was going to quit. We don't want that. So having that good positive leader-member exchange would reduce employee turnover. More positive performance evaluations. This performance evaluation obviously was not positive. So we want those to be positive. Positive LMX relationships create higher frequency of promotions. Maybe she needs a promotion. Maybe she's not feeling valued and she needs a promotion. And and then maybe she'll say, wow, they really do value me here. They see that I have skills and that I have the ability to do something more. Better job attitudes. She did need an attitude adjustment. More attention and support from the leader. She definitely needed more attention and support from the leader. And greater participation and faster career progress. So I'm just reading into the video. Maybe she feels a little static. Maybe she feels like she's been doing the same thing for a really long time and needs an opportunity to do something new. I'm going to wrap it up because I've been talking for a long time, and I apologize for that. But I hope y'all have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time.